Okay, Bob Gardner here from thebraidedwarrior.com, here to talk to you today about the effect that you, who you are as a father, has upon your wife and your kids. Yes, you're a leader in the home. Like, that's how this thing works out. You're a leader in the home, but what you don't realize is that what you say and what you do and the things that you put in place aren't the only way that you lead. So not too long ago, I was dealing with some really kind of like emotional stuff. And I was having a lot of emotions coming up, and I was trying to find a way to like deal with them, but in a way that wasn't so that I snapped at my kids, because they don't deserve that kind of thing. Now this is crazy, because like for me, like I think it's really important to understand that I got a bunch of garbage that I picked up over my life, a bunch of trash, a bunch of things in my head, and there's no point in me putting my trash on other people and puking that, because then they got to clean up their own yard. And in the case of my kids, well, they just have to live with it thinking that that's like normal. And so I don't want to do that. So what I decided to do was I was going to go out into my car and just yell it out. I was going to get it out, just say the things I had to say, and be free of it for the first time in a long time. And so I got in the car and I started screaming and I started yelling, and some cuss words came out, like some real curse words, like the 4-letter words, like the bad ones, and like the sort of mediocre but still bad, like you wouldn't say them in public ones. And like they were coming out of me, and like it felt good to get it out, but at the same time it was a little surprising because I'd only ever written those on paper and shredded them and burned them before. So to say it was like powerful experience for me, and at the same time a little bit scary. And so I would say them in the car, and I'd say them like I was just out somewhere in a field or something, and just say it, like get rid of the filters so that I didn't feel like I had to hold stuff in. A powerful experience. But what I noticed was like, within a week and a half, without me saying any of this stuff in the house, one of my kids starts cussing. Now, he had heard this stuff at school. He hadn't heard it from me. But somehow, in that little period of time, it had clicked with him that he had permission to start saying that stuff, saying it to his brothers when he's frustrated, saying it to other people. And this happened for a little bit. And someone else in the house dropped a cuss word too. And like my brain starts automatically making connections like, wait, hold on a second. I start cussing even when I'm not around them, and then all of a sudden they start cussing? Like I unleash this way and then they unleash this way? Why? It's because who I am is what is leading them. It's not what I say. It's not what like I'm trying to teach them. Those are like wonderful things, and those are the things that their neighbors and their teachers and the teachers at school and at church help them with, and they learn those lessons from everybody. But the real lessons they learn are from osmosis. Why do my kids like martial arts? Could it be because of me? Why do they get engaged physically with people? Could it be because that's who I am? Why do my kids like to tell stories or get super dramatic or talk really loud, much to my wife's chagrin? Could it be because that's who I am as the leader in my home? Yes, that's the reason. So I want to have you consider today that who your kids are, how they're behaving, is a reflection of who you are and what you've trained them to be, not by what you said, but by who you are, by how you live day to day. And if you can't see the connection between how you live and how they're behaving, then my suggestion to you is that you might be a little bit blind to it. You haven't seen it before. Like you didn't realize that was passed on from your parents or your grandparents, and that was just normal, and you didn't recognize it until your kids started getting on your nerves about it. Which means that the challenge for today is to ask yourself, like, wait, hold on a second. Who am I being now? And the things in my life that I don't like, especially with my family and my children, what are they doing that's bugging me? And could it possibly be because I have silently given them permission to behave that way by who I am being? That means if they're walking over you and never listening to you, could it be that you don't listen to them? That you walk over them? Not in the same way, and definitely not maliciously most of the time, just because like that's how it shows up. It's all unconscious, but it's time to make it conscious, because if you want your children to have the best shot at their lives, the more clear you get, the better person you become, it is inevitable that they will pick up on that just like they picked up on the stuff that's bugging you. And I want to congratulate you for the things that your children do well. They came with some good stuff. And a lot of parents want to just like throw that out the window and be like, oh, well, that's them. They came with that. I'm nothing like that. They had to find some encouragement to live into their truth and to own up to their talent somewhere. And that was probably you doing that. So congrats. But on the flip side, where in your life where are they not living up to it? And could it be because of how you're showing up? So I want you to consider that today as we go forward with this Warrior Wednesday series.